Today I'm finally taking the race car racing. The swap is done and we took it for a test drive. No major issues except a slight hesitation when stabbing the throttle like when you go on a downshift and a little bit of a rough idle. But I'm going to ignore that. So it's autocross. Here we are at the first autocross for the coupe. The engine, suspension, and transmission have all been here before when they were in my 1988 BMW convertible. All my wiring and surprisingly mostly leak-free engine passed tech inspection. So after a quick walk of today's course, it's time to line up in grid and take our first lap. First run in the car felt great. I didn't really push it too much to allow myself to get comfortable with both the course and the car. I still haven't installed the instrument cluster, so I have no tachometer, speedometer, temperature gauge, or oil pressure light. But on the bright side, no check engine lights. In grid, sitting and idling, the manual override electric fan was much more effective at keeping the engine cool than the clutch fan had been. The other benefit of running the manual switch with the electric fan is that I get to save 1.236 horsepower by not having to turn a mechanical fan. Wasn't bad, 48?
48, you dropped it quite a bit.
The second run I went on, I pushed the car to its limit and started to notice some tire rub on the rear passenger wheel when taking hard left turns. So that's an issue I'll have to address in the future. The rest of the morning went by with no additional issues, and next it's my turn to work the cones and the flags. The corner workers call in when somebody hits a cone and resets those cones. It's part of the fun because you get to watch the cars race by and close up. After the second heats and after lunch, it was time to run again. For the first afternoon run, I was pushing it and doing fairly decent. After the second run, however, one of the workers noticed some fluid in front of my driver rear wheel. I parked back into pit and inspected further to find out that the original hard brake lines to the rear caliper had sprung a leak. Well, that ends my runs for the day, but we'll get it home and we'll redo the whole braking system. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out all the old brake system. We're going to keep the same calipers, but we're going to install new rotors, new pads, all new hard lines, and all new soft lines. I used copper nickel alloy lines to replace them. They're a little bit easier to work with, and they're a little bit more rust resistant, or so I've read. I'm not really a scientist. They ended up coming out really good, and they're much, much easier to work with, and they're less likely to kink than the stainless steel lines that I've used in the past. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to bleed the system, and I also made this part of my life much easier. I got a pressure bleeder kit, so you just fill up the reservoir with a good amount of fluid, and you pump it up to about 10 psi. Don't think I'll ever bleed brakes any other way. All I had to do was pressurize the system with 10 psi, open up the bleeder screws at each end, and just wait until no more air bubbles came out. Much easier, not exactly cleaner, but I can do it by myself really, really easily and accurately. Next, what we got to address is this clear tire rubbing all the way on this side, and that's because this fender is a little bit beat up and I didn't fix it before I did the paint work. What we got a fender roller here, so we'll get the wheel off, get that set up, and it's my first time rolling fenders, so we'll see how that goes. The fender, since it had been damaged in the crash or something at some point, was a little bit more not round than it should have been, so the fender roller didn't move too easily. So the parts that need a little extra massage, just got a little hammer and massage it out. Still looks terrible, but let's check and see if it rubs or not. Let's get it back down on the ground. Still have truck height clearance, and we'll do a little spring test. Perfect. We're ready to go racing again. We got a few things we want to do first. We're going to do some smoke testing, and we'll save that for another video, and then hopefully we'll be able to get it on an actual racetrack next. Thanks for watching.